Sponsored
Yeah.
by Grace.
Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, so well, first, how are you, Travis? Can you introduce yourself just to for my teacher, just like a little bit of your career path and how you became like a member of IATSE, right?
For sure, certainly. My name is Travis Wallace. I am Jamaican Canadian. I moved to Canada in 2017, and I've been pursuing a path of storytelling since coming to Canada. I started my studies at journalism at Humber College. I had a passion for writing and telling stories, and that's how my story began. Just always wanted to tell stories of marginalized people and communities that didn't have the voice to tell stories for themselves. So my path kind of started out with that passion for writing, and then sort of like translated into film. Um, I think it's just sort of like an evolution of storytelling. As technology increases, um, writing becomes not as popular anymore medium of consumption. It becomes more photographic at one point, and then it just translated over to moving pictures and videos and film. So after journalism, I still had a passion for storytelling. I went to film school, and then I've been on the path of telling stories in different mediums and formats, which has been a really exciting journey.
Okay, that's a great, you have a great pitch. Like that's awesome. Uh, okay, so like you arrived here as an immigrant, right? You didn't have like a PR
I mean,
or did you?
essentially, I mean, if you're coming from a different country and you're moving, you're technically considered to be an immigrant. So yeah, my family did migrate from Jamaica to Canada, and as immigrants, and we're here just making a new life for ourselves.
Okay, yeah, awesome. So my question would be, me as an immigrant, as an international student, a lot of career opportunities, like for example, in IATSE, they require you to have like a PR, right, in order to be able to join them. When you were in that position in your career, what was your approach? Like, what was your plan, and how did you like kind of go with the bureaucracy and everything like that?
Right. This is kind of a tricky one because I don't think my path is as traditional as an international student. I came to Canada because my parents got married. My mom got married to a Canadian guy, so initially I came as a permanent resident. Um,
Mm.
and I was still afforded the privileges of a citizen, similar to a PR. I just wasn't able to vote or travel outside of the country without necessarily necessary paperwork. That didn't hinder me in pursuing film the way that it would for an international student, not having the same barriers and opportunities to join, let's say, for example, like a film union, like IATSE. Unfortunately, my path was a little bit more fortunate, and I think now I see a lot of international students that are striving to get to that place where they're able to pursue their dreams and live the life that they want to live, which I admire.
Okay, okay. Oh yeah, that's a good relevant point to address. So well, let's get into like your responsibilities right now. Uh,
Sure.
what would be like the title of your job, like, or do you the like well, yeah, how do they call it? How do they refer to, and what are the responsibilities, you know?
Sure. I have two passionate pursuits at the moment. I am in IATSE as a lighting tech. So my responsibilities as a lighting technician, number one is always safety on set, making sure that any rigging of lighting equipments are first and foremost safe, safe for the crew and cast that are going to be on set. Just making sure that all your lighting fixtures are in operation, functionable, working, any CRMX or DMX control of lighting, usually the responsibility of a lighting technician on a production set. Um, Secondarily, I am also a first AC outside of being a gaffer, which usually is a camera department role, involves focus pulling, assisting your DP and second AC with lens changes, um, focus pulling primarily, to make sure that your images are in focus, assisting your DP, just being their right-hand man or woman with any roles that they need to carry out on set, usually all camera related.
Okay, that's a pretty clear um, description of the roles. Which aspects of your job do you find like the most interesting or rewarding?
As a lighting tech or as a camera assistant?
Well, you can say both, like yeah.
Um, I think as a camera technician, that fulfills more of like the technical side of my brain, because I'm a very tech savvy person when it comes to learning camera specs and how the camera functions. Just understanding like different lenses and how different lenses work on different cameras, the kind of images that it produces, common things like bokeh, depth of field, just how anamorphic lenses and how they operate, and images and aspect ratios that they produce. Open gates for 35, full frame. I'm kind of nerdy when it comes down to the technical side of things, so that scratches like the technical side of my brain. And being a lighting technician sort of scratches more of like the creative side, which I find a lot more fulfilling, in some sense, because I find that I have a lot more um, interest in using light to tell a story. You can either make something a little bit more dramatic or comedic. Can just go different spectrums of how to evoke different emotions with the light. So I find that lighting and tech like scratch different parts of my interest and creativity.
Okay, that's really cool. That's really cool. Let's go back here to the more bureaucratic part, like the not so creative part of it.
For
Uh,
sure.
what skills or certifications are like required for you to work at the union?
Hmm. Good question. Just reiterating that I'm in IATSE for a lighting tech. Sorry about that. My notification is on. Um, I think one of the biggest, I guess, attribute for a lighting technician is just having the forethought for safety. I can't stress that enough. That's just such a big thing because you're handling usually really heavy equipments. You're working around like a huge group of people all the time, and lighting stuff especially has to do with a lot of power and electricity. And just understanding the fundamentals of lighting distribution really helps to make sure that everyone in production is kept as safe as possible. So there's that technicality that's usually a good thing to, I guess, to hone as a lighting tech. I completely forgot the question, rambling at the moment.
Just like some certifications, like some
But
papers or
right, okay. Yeah, so some of the things that I had to do while signing up for IATSE in terms of like qualifications, were getting like a scissor lift and a boom lift certification, for example. Usually when you move up on the scale of productions, you're usually required to like operate like heavy machinery. For example, like today I was on like RBC commercial and we were rigging an entire like lighting setup in studio and ceiling. We pretty much use a scissor lift in order to get in the ceiling, rig all our lights to make sure the entire suit is like lit properly and all the talent that are going to be in frame are highlighted. Another thing that I had to get was usually like WMIS, which is Workplace Health and Information System. Usually it has to do with like safety in the workplace. Again, safety is such a big thing. It comes on to union jobs. Um, what else did I certification did I get? It's been a while. Um, I got WMIS and Boom Lift. Um, and working at heights,
yeah.
it's not as practical. This is more theoretical. It just tells you about the safety and responsibilities of what you should and should not do when working at surfaces beyond 3 meters, which is considered to be height. Anything above 3 meters, like safety of working on a ladder, is like 3 point contacts and stuff like that. Those were the three mandatory requirements to join. Then you have secondary stuff like maybe just getting like a steel toe boot or getting glove and stuff like that, just personal PPE stuff that are required.
Okay, really nice. Thank you so much for that
For sure.
information. Um, so I mean, let's go more like to the wide scope, right, of the industry and how you see the film and television industry right now. Like you're on sets very often. How have you seen like on this time you like the changes with AI, with unions? Like what is the more or less the yeah the landscape?
Right. I can't say that I've been in the industry, especially union world, long enough to speak on like the evolution of AI, for example, because it's still a very new technology that's currently infiltrating different aspects of the film industry. Um, but the only way that I see this in my current field is usually more on the pre-production side of things. I think usually outsiders might see, I guess, the way that things are done on set and sort of like assume that it's AI. I think the biggest fight regarding that is usually for generative AI. But there are still AI tools that are being used on set in order to, I guess, help lighting connection happen. So when you're using like your lighting control apps, let's say your Sidus or Astera or Blackout or stuff like that, you usually have like built-in controls in order to get stuff to be connected a lot better in order for work to be more efficient. Um, the more use that I've seen of AI in film is more of the pre-production side of stuff with lighting. For an app like, let's say, Artemis Pro, you can like go into the app and like generate like your actual like avatars of where your scene's gonna look like, and then how far someone is in the background, and you can see how blurry and stuff like that, how they are in frame, which is really helpful in some way. And I think that's really shaping the way that a lot of DPs are now approaching um, sharing information with gaffers and lighting technicians so that they're able to like have a better vision understanding of what a scene is going to look like going into a project. I I think that's helpful, and so those are some of the helpful benefits of AI in film work. Can't speak to a lot of the negative connotations because I don't personally indulge that much into the world of AI. But I'd love to answer your more question more without talking necessarily about AI. But
That's cool. That's cool. So now let's go like to the human aspect, right? Because it's such a
right.
collaborative um, like career. How do you manage what uh, um, philosophy do you approach the networking? You know, like maybe has been there some kind of people that you didn't like get along so well? How did you manage that? Just like some advice there.
Hmm. Surprisingly, I think majority of the experiences that I've had on set has been quite positive. I think it's more of a reflection of my attitude when coming onto a project. I tend to be a lot more open-minded. I tend to try to speak to as much of the DP or gaffer or best boy or whoever I'm working with before going into a project. So the relationship that I have going into most sets are usually quite positive. I think I approach stuff with such an open mind that I'm just there to always work and do my best and to learn and just putting my best foot forward at all times. And just like trying to own up to when I don't understand something, as opposed to just going into it and making a mistake and like causing hazards and stuff that don't need to happen on set. I guess just letting your DP know that, okay, it's like I'm new into this field, so I they require you, let's say, if I got my certification for like a boom lift and they want me to operate a boom lift. I don't have as much repetition using a boom lift that if I go into like a TV show to be able to like use it as efficiently as they want me to without causing havoc. So I'll let my DP or producer know that, hey, I've only used this machine once or twice. Maybe the scope of what you're expecting me to do might be beyond your expectations. So I'll let you know that going into it, I might need, let's say, an assistant to help me operate this lift before I get on it and cause danger to me, myself, or anyone else. So I guess like approaches like that, just being open-minded and being honest about and realistic about like what you can and cannot do is I guess something that gets me a lot further um than feel my peers, not to compare anyone. Um and I guess just being assertive with going after the things that I want as well. I think I see a lot of my peers like sit back and like wait for the opportunity to like fall in their lap. And I just don't have that mentality. I think coming as an immigrant and seeing how things work, I'm always assertive about like meeting people, asking questions, and maybe grabbing a coffee and being honest about where I'm going and asking questions about what I don't know so that I can make the best approaches going into things. I'm always of the mentality that there's always something to learn, and everyone that I meet, I can learn from, and they can learn from me. So I'm not approaching stuff with like more of like ego or I know better than anyone. It's like we're all here to do a job, and we're here to meet a certain goal. We're making films. We're not like saving lives. So it's important to just have that down to earth realism and just give your best at whatever you're doing. I find so.
Great answer, great answer. I think a lot of people should listen to that. And okay, so we're going more into the human aspect. How do you we like you spend a lot of time on set, like 12-hour days, 15-hour days. Eh, how do you manage that like work-life balance in such a demanding industry?
Work-life balance, what is that? Um, it's really hard. I think a lot of people struggle with us having that work-life balance because this industry is, for lack of a better word, just quite sporadic and inconsistent, and there's just like crests and troughs, and it just throws you into the deep end, and then sometimes you're drowning, sometimes you're just barely surviving above water. I think a lot of people that come into the industry like fall back in, let's say, a 9 to 5, or they're like maybe just living with their parents or just struggling to get by. It's like, or maybe they end up leaving the industry and stuff like that. That happens all the time. I think the work-life balance for me is like I quit my job like 3 years ago to pursue film. So it's like I was very determined to make film work, regardless of anything that came my way. So I quit my 9 to 5. I haven't worked a 9 to 5 in like 3 years, and I just like went all in on films. Not to say that it was like the best years of my life. There was like a period where I was like homeless, just like sleeping on my filmmaker's friend's couch for like 4 months, where I couldn't get a job, like a 9 to 5 to like support like paying rent in Toronto. So I was like sleeping on my friend's couch and like trying to make the best of working in the industry. So it's like there's those tough times where you don't know where the next job is coming from or when you're gonna get a call to go on set again. And it's like very inconsistent and you can't like wait around for like the next big thing because you don't know when that's gonna come because a lot of the industry is very clicky in a way where like, you're only getting hired by, let's say, people that you've previously worked with, or your jobs are like by word of mouth. And if you don't know people and people are not like thinking about you constantly, then it's really hard for you to get that call. Um, so I guess falling back on just like having emergency, let's say, funds or saving as much as I can, and like I guess rejecting like going out, let's say, to the movies or buying that extra Tim Hortons just to like save some money to like fall back and be prepared for hard times when no work is coming in. It's like I'm still young, so I'm still like figuring that part out as for myself. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
I
yeah,
think honesty is the best answer. So
yeah, yeah.
like it's completely crazy and
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of people chasing the bone, but just the most determined ones are the ones that can accomplish that, right? Like uh,
yeah, yeah.
I look at you and I see like hope. So
Oh,
yeah.
well, I see that.
So
Uh,
that's like really good. So yeah, we're closing right now. Like just like as a as a final question, what advice would you like to well, yeah, what advice would you like to have when you were younger, like starting on your career? Um, do you have any regrets? If you don't have any regrets, what mentality would you say that you approached? Like I already listened to a lot of you, but yeah, just like one final advice. So that yeah.
Sure. I think I guess it's sort of like a what would you say to your younger self kind of question, but I think I would just say don't give up. Um, I feel like that's a very simple thing, but it's like so profound and sort of like that's kind of like what I've been trying to like do every day that I wake up. It's like you have to be like very strong-willed in order to be in this industry because a lot of people like come and they realize that this is not for them. And then they just like fall off and like go back to like a normal life. But life happens. You just got to be tough and resilient. But yeah, don't give up. Um, and part of don't giving up doesn't mean just like continuing to do like the same thing over and over again with no results. I think part of no giving up sort of speaks to trying your best to find different avenues and different paths to like make your dream happen. Um, I think part of not giving up is going out, meeting people, networking, searching for opportunities, like asking questions. There's a short period of time where it was like I had a weekly plan where it's like every single week I would like reach out to like one DP a week and ask them like how they got into industry and like telling them about the work that I saw from them that I really like and what I like about the work and sort of like just being genuine about it, not trying to be transactional. We're like, oh, hey, can you do this for me? Because I want something from you. Just like I just be genuine. I just become genuinely interested in people because I think that's a part of what journalism kind of like taught me. Because like everyone has a story to tell, and you don't like look at people as something, some person that you can like take something from. Just try to be interested in that person, what they're doing, while you're interested in it, just trying to find that connective tissue. And yeah, just be connected and go after your dreams. Don't give up. And I think eventually, with compounding interest and compounding efforts, you begin to like find your way. And sometimes it takes months, sometimes it takes years. For me, it took a very long time. And I think I'm just like beginning to carve out that path for myself. So it's like, just don't give up.
Wow. Congratulations. I feel so inspired right now. Okay. So, well, thank you so much, Travis. Really appreciate your time. I really enjoy listening to you, to your stories. Just a quick 20-minute talk, but like it was so insightful.
Beautiful. Thank
And
you.
yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. And I hope we can collaborate in the near future. And I will
Of course.
follow you. I cheer for you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, next time we do this, I'll be asking you questions. So,
Cool. Awesome. Have a great
sure.
night.
All right. Thank you,
Get
man. Cheers.
touched. Bye bye.